So we shall point you to this website that you can learn some pretty cool things on. I think we've got it right here. It's Emily Contois, which is a beautiful last name, .com. You are a Brown PhD candidate, correct?
I am.
You got to make a big dissertation to get that degree?
That is my project to become the PhD completely.
Yes. How
Yes.
far away are you?
I have 2.5 years to write the book. I've just passed my exams. That's where the candidacy status
Right.
comes from.
Right. Well, soon to be, Dr. Contois. It's
Yes.
a pleasure to have you on the broadcast.
Thank you.
You write about, like, the history of food and stuff.
Among
sort of.
other things, yes.
Yes. Well, tell us about some of your thoughts on Thanksgiving and the dining and the menu and all of that.
Absolutely. Thanksgiving is a very meaningful ritual for Americans, no matter where they come from.
Said by someone who was born in Australia.
Yes, my father is Australian,
Yes.
my mother's American. So even though I was born abroad, people always teased me. But yes, I'm an American as well.
When did you come to the States? When you
I
were
was
like
4.
You were 4?
Yes.
Okay, because I was thinking I was going to get some great Australian accent.
Yeah, no, g'day, mate.
Yeah, right? You know, exactly.
Yes, my other work is on Vegemite. So that
You know,
was
I
my
do
friend's-
believe it. Emily said, you know, after I have a few pops, you know, it'll come out. Well, it comes out easy, doesn't it? That's pretty
It
good.
is, yeah.
It's a good switch. But anyway, you were saying about the meaning of Thanksgiving dining and the like.
Yes, it's a very meaningful ritual, whether we gather with family that we're related to or friends that are family that we've chosen. The traditional menu that people cook, whether it's turkey and cranberries and potatoes, those comfort foods mean a lot as we gather around a common table and break bread together. Happening in November, in the harvest season, celebrating abundance and plenty, that it's a seasonal ritual. For many people, it takes on a religious, spiritual component. For those of us far away from our families, it can be a tinge of bittersweetness.
Yes.
And so in those instances, I've had the pleasure of going to lots of Friendsgivings, right? Of getting to try out other people's traditions, other people's great recipes and dishes.
How do you, what? You just ask, because you're studying that in other kinds of cultural things, you've made a point to visit other families during Thanksgiving? Is it,
I've been
you
looking
like
at
knock on doors and say, hey, listen, you mind if I hang out and watch the way you do it, or how's that work?
I'm not an anthropologist, so I haven't had to purposefully knock on doors and ask people to invite me. I've been very lucky to have people welcome me into their homes.
Interesting. It really is. I said on the radio today that it might be, at least for me, the easiest and best holiday, because you don't have the pressure of the gifts, but you do have the pleasure of bringing everybody together and kind of hanging out. So for that reason, it's really I mean, think about it. It's a meal, but it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
But the meal means so much to people, and the way I was in the locker room today after a workout, listening to the old guys talking about what they serve and what they've been making for all this period of time. It really is important to them.
Absolutely. The repetition can be very important for people, whether they're heritage recipes, things that grandma made, great-grandma made, bringing those out. I know I have friends who have recipe cards with actual grandma's handwriting.
Right.
To be able to cook from those is also part of the ritual of cooking and part of the passing down of knowledge and a part of honoring the labor that goes into making the food. So as you say, it's a holiday about pleasure. Part of it is, but there's a fair amount of food labor that goes into it, whether it's an army of family members and friends in the kitchen or a potluck where everyone does a smaller bit and brings it together. There's also labor throughout the entire food system that makes all of our Thanksgivings possible.
It's really, so when you write about this and you study this, you write about some of the human aspects of what food means and the communal aspect of it. Is that what you're
That's certainly
doing?
part of it. I'm interested as well in the constructed mythology of Thanksgiving, right? We're celebrating the supposed meeting of the Wampanoag Indians and the Pilgrims, sharing in this bounty, but the mythology behind Thanksgiving is actually very purposefully created in the 19th century.
Hold that thought. That's worth waiting for. When we come back, we'll hear about that. Stay with us. With our Brown PhD candidate, food writer and scholar, Emily Contois. You know, it's funny, before we get to the mystique you were speaking about, you know, the whole meaning of the family toil and the history, and remember what Grandma used to make and all that kind of stuff for Thanksgiving. It's funny, we were moving a new table into my dining room this morning, It's actually a table that my mom, who passed away years ago, left to my sister, and we stole it. But as we were moving it in, my wife said to me, and I just recall it as you were talking about all the family meaning and what a dish means. She said, "There's a lot of history in this table," and I thought that was really poignant that she said that, and I'm sure that's the table and what is put on it has so much meaning. It's funny, when you're at the table on a particular year, all you do is reminisce about what previous years used to be. You got to soak up the present, though, a little bit, but anyway, just to add on
that's a
to your
beautiful
thought.
story.
Yeah,
the
right?
tables, the linens, the plates, the recipes,
All that.
the dishes. Like, we have the same dish as my great-grandmother's, is this heart shape that we make this Serbian spinach dish in.
Right.
It's called material culture in the world of the academy, that all of those things have great meaning as well.
Yeah, you're really smart. Don't you like it when smart people come on this show? I do. Tell me about this mythology that you were talking about.
Yes. So our first national holiday of Thanksgiving is in 1863, decreed by Abraham Lincoln. And it's at a moment where the North and the South need to be brought back together. So it's using food and a ritualized meal to be able to bring us together as a nation, as well as to be able to teach a national mythology to the influx of immigrants coming to the United States. So it's a mythology and a story through food and through this ritual that really created the United States as it is. And it continues to be meaningful even as we have additional waves of immigrants coming into the United States, changing the dishes, creating new ones here as they combine old traditions with new. Thanksgiving has a lot of magic to it that way.
I could listen to you all day. This is fascinating. You have such an eloquence about you in the way you're talking about the history of this. And we've had a bunch of refugee controversy over the last couple of weeks since the France attacks, and I hope that this country can put its fear and security concerns in one place and have an open mind about culture and immigrants and refugees. And not that I'm a bleeding heart liberal by any stretch, but I really would like to see a little bit more openness. And we've gotten kind of tough on who we are and what we do and all that kind of thing. And maybe some of that cool stuff is reflected in some of the things that you reflect on, which is what food and culture and adding to what we have means, right?
Very much so. I think as we see some of the coverage of refugees coming into new environments, of the services that people have opened up, and being able to break bread with one another, that it is one of these communal spaces where we can come to a common understanding. I think in that way, Thanksgiving and all meals and food culture as a tool of communication as well can be an important part of going
think about
forward.
how many disputes in history have been settled over a dining table, right? And
Yeah.
You have a situation when somebody say, hey, let's go out and have some lunch and talk about it, right? So that very practice is really innately a communication catalyst and vehicle, seems to me, right?
From culinary diplomacy to the function of business lunch, big deals being hashed out over a meal.
Right.
No, food's an important part of a lot of negotiations.
So this is what you study.
It is.
How'd you figure out that you wanted to study all of this? It's fascinating.
Yeah, food is infinitely meaningful. And so for food studies, we use food as a lens to be able to study everything from politics to economics. I myself focus on gender, how the consumer culture and the media construct who we are, through advertising specifically. But no, food is meaningful in so many different ways, across culture, across time. And so it's been very exciting in the Academy as new food studies programs are popping up across the country. It's something that lots of students are very interested in studying, and I'm very excited to be teaching at Brown.
So give me a last 30 seconds on what this Thanksgiving means to you.
Thanksgiving's bittersweet for me because my family's in Montana. My Australian father shivering in Montana with the woman he fell in love with who was from there.
Oh.
So I miss them dearly.
I feel a romance novel about to be written here.
No, they have an incredible romantic story that started in Paris, of all things. And so for me, I love the traditional dishes. I'm looking forward to stuffing and sharing it with my husband and a little bit of leftover turkey for my dog, and being able to hear about all the wonderful things my friends eat as well.
Will you come back?
Of course.
Fascinating. Happy Thanksgiving.
You as well. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Be right back. So we'll take a break on Thanksgiving Day and Friday for original programming. We'll have some shows that were compelling. We hope you think so over the last few weeks. In the meantime, on this Thanksgiving, I just want to thank you for the growth of the show. We're doing very well, and without you, I wouldn't be here. Chubby Ugly Guy can make it on television. That's a pretty good thing. So thank you. Have a great Thanksgiving.